This is the Morning Swim Show for Friday, December 18th, 2009. I'm your host, Peter Bush. We'll have the results of this week's poll question in about 8 minutes, and we'll give you the new poll question. First, every so often, we like to talk to an age group coach. They're the ones at ground zero for developing the next generation of swimmers that we'll be talking about here on the show. And it's interesting to hear about their different coaching philosophies, and interesting is certainly one word that aptly describes our guest today. He's the head coach of Lake Oswego Swim Club in Oregon. Coley Stickels joins us on Skype right now from outside Portland. Coley, long time no see. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Great to be on.
You know, when I used to swim with you at the University of Arizona, in practice, I would describe you as intense, emotional, maybe a little crazy. Are you the same kind of coach?
I'm exactly the same. Not much has changed there.
All right, so, tell me about your club, how many swimmers you have, and what kind of coach you are to them.
Our club is, like you said, based right outside of Portland, Oregon. We've got about 110 swimmers on our team. Typically, we've got a bunch of kids who are in it to be successful right off the bat. They like the feel of having success in some capacity, as everyone does right off the bat. So when they jump into the sport, they want to see success. And my training is somewhat geared to success right away at the age group levels, and it's lower volume and kind of high intensity, as you mentioned.
Now, I know that sometimes people have been critical of that approach.
Right.
You know, it's not exactly building a strong yardage base to get them ready for maybe college swimming or something like that.
Right.
But you've had results.
Right. Well, we do a lot of our base work, so to speak, outside of the water. We get the heart rate up for an extended period of time. On dry land, we do a lot of almost CrossFit style training. As a matter of fact, when I was at juniors last week, I was talking to a couple head coaches there that were doing similar things outside of the water to get that kind of aerobic base and keep the swimming kind of fresh and intense and technical in the water.
Now, you were a sprinter. Do you teach, coach kids who do distance swimming though as well, or just sprinters?
Yeah, I mean, we typically have a group. The kids that I coach just like to sprint, but I always have them train in the 400 IMs and the 500s, and we like to try it every once in a while. And we do some threshold work where, we actually train. We've done more of it this year where we're training for 400 IMs and 500 frees to establish a pace and try to get these kids to be successful at that too. And that's kind of the more immediate goal with a lot of the swimmers I have, is getting their 200s to the 500s up, competitive with where their sprints are. Now,
historically, the way it works in a big city is you have one, maybe two real premier age group clubs, and the kids just go there because they've got a good reputation, and then they break them up into groups and they do their thing. Could you see or is this happening where in a city kids will actually go to a coach that is better or more specific with one type of training? The sprinters will go to you, but kids in the Portland area who are more interested in distance training will go to another coach. I mean, is that happening?
Not typically here. It's mostly, these kids on my team especially are from the immediate area. They go to school in Lake Oswego. Some come from the, surrounding areas, but typically it's, kind of where they live. If you're downtown Portland, you go to the clubs that are located close to where you live. We don't have a big influx of kids coming from, all over the area. We did last year get a few kids from outside of the state just to come here to swim, which was pretty cool. But typically, I'd say most kids are going to teams that are close to where they live.
In your interaction with other swim coaches across the country and maybe outside of the country as well, what percentage, if you could put a percentage on it, would you say carry that same philosophy that you do? Is that still the minority? Are the majority still, more the old school, hey, we got to get a lot of yards in? I mean, what percentage would you say?
That's tough. It's interesting because coaches that I thought, even at this past junior nationals, coaches that I thought were, heavy volume coaches. Surprisingly, during our conversations, I found that were not at all. They were lower, much lower volume coaches than I thought. They were doing different things, and so it's hard to put a number on that. But I feel like coaches are now kind of all over the place in terms of how they're training the energy systems. They're doing, some coaches are mixing in anaerobic and aerobic days. Some days it's pure speed. Some days it's distance days. So I feel like, from talking to the coaches, that it's a mixed bag. You're getting. I don't know if anybody caters to strictly just pure distance or pure sprint work anymore. It's somewhere in the middle, and I'd say a high percentage of coaches are somewhere in that middle range.
How many assistant coaches do you have to help you out with 110 swimmers?
We've got 5. We've got 5 assistant coaches.
Okay. Is there a specific ratio that you think is the right one for kids? Should it be 20 to 1, 30 to 1? I mean, or
yes, exactly. 25 to 1, I think is ideal. It depends on the group. When you've got the real novice swimmers, they need a little bit more instruction and hands-on one-on-one. So when you get down to the learn to swim kids, it's you may need 7 or 8 to 1, somewhere in that range.
Well, finally, before we let you go, of all your swimmers, are there any that we should keep on our radar for great things in the future?
We've got a couple. I won't name them. I don't know if they'll get embarrassed or whatever, but we had a couple swim well at juniors. We had a girl that was second in the 200 IM and second in the 100 fly, who did pretty well. And then we've got a couple up and comer age group kids that are good, and they're in the rankings and that type of thing. So we've got a good squad coming up, and we're hopeful. We're very hopeful about the future of a few of these swimmers.
Well, we wish you the best of luck up there, and thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me on, Peter. Take care.
All right, that's Coley Stickels joining us here. We will be right back with the poll of the week.
Rough, man.
Oh, man, just brutal.
It's times like these that E-Trade can really help you replan your investments.
Yep.
So, it gives you the tools and research. Take control. Rise up.
Take these broken wings.
No.
What?
Stop.
What, I can't flex the golden pipes?
It's not the venue.
It's inspirational.
Any place.
Fine.
Okay, where was I?
And learn to fly again.
Take control with one of the most powerful investing machines there is. Join the 1,000 new accounts a day at E-Trade.
Time now for the results of the poll of the week. The duel in the pool is this weekend in England, and the question was, who will win more events, the U.S. or the 3 European countries combined? And our viewers say the U.S. by about 60% to 40%. Thank you for voting. And now for our last poll of 2009. Well, we started this new morning swim show format earlier this year. We feel like we're providing some great and unique content, but we always want to improve. So the new question is, how would you rate the morning swim show? 3 choices: excellent, good, or fair. We appreciate your thoughts. And that's it for the show today. Have a nice weekend. I'm Peter Bush, reminding you to keep your head down at the finish.